Welcome to Awkwardish. My name is Ruby, and I'm a blogger, and podcaster who focuses on mental health, substance abuse, domestic violence, and pretty much anything under the sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started. Hey, Awkward fam. Before we begin today, I want to light a little metaphorical candle. For you, for me, for anyone who's ever lived through a moment their mind couldn't hold. This episode is, I guess, an anthology of sorts. A collection of stories about people you know of, people you've watched, people you've listened to, all navigating bipolar disorder in the spotlight. And I want to walk through these stories slowly, with care, because beyond every headline is a human being, behind every diagnosis is a journey, and behind every crisis is someone who deserves compassion. And I'll be honest, when I was diagnosed with bipolar 1, I started noticing how differently the world reacts depending on who is struggling. And the more I learned, the more I realized how many public figures have walked the same path. So today we're going to explore their stories and the reflections they stirred in me. Let's begin with Lil Nas X. As most of us know, last summer he went through a very public break from reality. It was one of those moments where the internet did what the internet does. Turn someone's crisis into content. Clips, jokes, commentary, theories, all swirling around a moment that was actually a mental health emergency. Later, after he received treatment, a judge confirmed what his team already knew. He was in the middle of an untreated bipolar episode. The court even said his behavior was aberrant from his normal conduct. And that line, that kind of stuck with me, because that's what these episodes are. They're aberrations, ruptures, moments where your brain stops being a safe place to live. And I think about how terrifying that must have been for him. Not just the episode itself, but the aftermath, the cameras, the strangers deciding who you are based on the moment you were most unwell. I didn't have cameras on me when I broke from reality, but I had my own version of that fear, that shame, that disorientation, that moment where you look back and think, was that really me? And the truth is, yes, it was. But it was you in crisis, not you in your fullness. What I love about his story now is that he's in treatment. He's rebuilding. He's doing well. And that matters because it reminds us that bipolar disorder is not a moral failure. It's a condition, and conditions can be treated. Next, I want to talk about Selena Gomez. When she shared her bipolar diagnosis, she did it with this softness, this grounded honesty, and that felt like a permission slip for many people. She talked about therapy. She talked about learning. She talked about understanding her mind instead of fearing it. And that resonates with me deeply. Because when you finally get a diagnosis, there's this strange mix of grief and relief. Grief for the years you didn't have the language to describe what you were going through, and relief that you finally do. Selena uses her platform to normalize treatment, to support youth mental health, to say, you're not broken, you're learning yourself. And that's a message I wish more of us had heard earlier. Sorry, getting a little emotional. Mariah Carey. So Mariah lived with bipolar 2 for years before she ever spoke about it publicly. Years of pushing through, years of not knowing why things felt so heavy, so intense, so unpredictable. When she finally shared her diagnosis, she talked about the denial, the fear, the exhaustion of pretending everything was fine. And I felt that. Because sometimes the hardest part isn't the symptoms, it's the silence, the not knowing, the trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense yet. Mariah's story reminds us that diagnosis can come late, but healing can still come. Okay, Kanye West. Before I go through his stuff, I do want to say I was one of those judgmental people who thought that he just liked acting crazy and wanted attention. Even though he talks about his bipolar disorder, because I didn't understand it. Yeah, I do regret that a lot. But I'm learning and growing. So, Kanye is one of the most publicly scrutinized people living with bipolar disorder. His manic episodes often unfold in front of millions, and instead of compassion, he's met with judgment, memes, and armchair diagnoses. He has spoken openly about his condition and the challenges of staying on treatment, also about the way mania can distort reality. And whether you agree with him or not, his story shows something important. When you're famous, your symptoms get mistaken for personality, character, and intention. But bipolar disorder is none of those things. It's an illness, and illnesses deserve care. Lastly, we have Demi Lovato. So she learned she had bipolar disorder during inpatient treatment. And she's been open about relapse, recovery, trauma, and the messy, non-linear nature of healing. Her honesty is raw. Sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes painful, but always real. And I appreciate that. Because healing isn't a straight line. Thinking about it, it's actually more of a spiral. And when I say spiral, I don't necessarily mean downward spiral or upward spiral. That's just the direction you go in things. You revisit things, you learn new layers, and you grow in circles, not steps. Demi's story reminds us that progress doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. So I want to pause here for a moment. Because when we talk about bipolar disorder, we're also talking about stigma, about misunderstanding, and about the way society flattens complex experiences into stereotypes. Women are often dismissed as emotional. Black men especially are often labeled as dangerous. Public figures are often treated as entertainment instead of human beings. But bipolar disorder doesn't care about fame, gender, race, or status. It's a condition, one that deserves compassion, treatment, and understanding. As we close this anthology, I want to return to that candle we lit in the beginning. These stories aren't about celebrity. They're about humanity. They're about the truth that bipolar disorder doesn't define you. It describes something you're living with. And if these people can live with it, speak about it, feel through it, then so can we. You're not alone in this. You're not broken. You're not beyond repair. You're a whole person, learning your mind one day at a time, and that is enough. Thank you for being here with me today. If you'd like to stay in touch, you can find me on Threads and Instagram under Awkward Rube. The podcast is under Awkwardish Podcast. TikTok, just Awkward Rube. It's not, the name's not just Awkward Rube, the name's Awkward Rube, but that's the only TikTok I have that covers this podcast and myself. And then on YouTube, Awkwardish Pods and Awkward Rube. So, alright, seeing you guys again next week, and hope everyone stays well.